morning, everyone. Welcome back to North Dakota Today. This Fargo area native is empowering others by sharing her story through podcast. Kay Cote was chosen to speak in Florida at a podcast expo, and she's joining us this morning to share her story with us. Good morning, Kay.
Good morning.
You know, it's so wonderful to have you. We always love to share with our community, especially those of us who are out and about really trying to lift each other up. So first of all, tell us all about Elevated You, your podcast, and how it all began.
Thank you so much. Elevated You came about when I was in the middle of rebranding my show. And I just wanted to tap into something deeper. I've always been in the health, wellness, and motivational space, but I really was lacking something, and I had to dig deep to find out what that was. And it actually ended up being going deep to something I experienced in my childhood when I was chronically bullied for 9 years, and I realized that was still sticking with me as an internal bully. So Elevated You is all about helping myself as well as others heal from experiences like being bullied and elevate into a higher thought and let go of some of those voices that are with us. And so it's an inspirational podcast to help people grow and help people heal.
You know, I think many people even listening at home can relate to that in some type of way. And inner healing really seems to be at the forefront for a lot of people with any type of mental health struggles. So what are you hoping that your listeners will really gain from listening to it?
I'm really hoping that my listeners gain the confidence to move past the thoughts, because the thoughts are always going to be there. Many of us have that harsh inner dialogue always going on, but it's learning to work with the thoughts and then elevate and think beyond those thoughts, to say yes to themselves and pursue their true passions and purpose.
Well, somebody sure did say yes. You got invited to speak at the PodFest Multimedia Expo. That's a really, really big deal. Tell us all about that experience.
It was honestly a dream. When I experienced this, I actually wrote them. They had a call for speakers, and I thought, you know what? I was naysaying myself. It was one of those moments where I was like, okay, this is a moment where I can elevate above my internal bully. And I submitted to be a speaker. And a few weeks later, I got an email saying, hey, you were chosen to speak at PodFest. And I kid you not, I let that email sit in my inbox for 3 days because I actually didn't believe that they chose me. And then I actually was like, oh my goodness, I need to respond and I need to get going on this. And I ended up, I responded back, wrote my speech, and then I went and I gave it as part of the event. And this event changed my life, as not only a professional life, but my personal life as well. And people really resonated with Elevated You. And I just felt so much encouragement, joy, and love from the experience.
Well, from what it sounds like, you were surrounded by a lot of like-minded individuals while at that expo. We got to scroll through some photos. What would you say is your biggest takeaway from being a speaker as well as a listener to other folks' stories?
My biggest takeaway is honestly that I can do this. I am on my right path. And that really solidified that, because so many things aligned, connections with incredible people, great education, and just the overall experience of allowing myself to do this and saying yes to myself was just really fueled me forward and got me kind of out of a creative funk I was in, and gave me the tools I needed to move forward and really grow this show.
You know, sometimes saying yes to yourself is truly the hardest part. It's just getting started and saying, yes, I can do this. I can accept this. So I really commend you for that. That's incredible. Where can our viewers go to listen to Elevated You?
Elevated You is available on all platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as well as on my website, kcote.com. I keep that updated and send out a newsletter weekly with latest episodes and everything you can experience. So yeah, feel free to check it out on all platforms, as well as kcote.com.
Wow. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Kay, and for sharing your story. Sometimes it's tough beginnings, but that's truly how you climb that mountain and get through it. So thank you again.
Yes.
All right, coming up, we have plenty more right here in North Dakota Today, including a nice sit-down interview with Below Zero.